Not so loud. Hello and welcome to the Payday 2 Starter Guide. For more information about the Starter Guide, check out the first episode linked in the video description. Stealth. Huh? It's, yeah, what's the word? Oh, right, bleh. I mean, it's not for me. That's the long and short of it, honestly. And that's not just personal issue. While there's over a dozen loud-only heists, there's only 4 stealth-only missions. And one of them can't even beat it in stealth. Figure out how that one works. I have no idea. So it's kind of clear stealth is almost a sort of black sheep in Payday 2. And you can kind of even see that in the gameplay. See, loud gameplay is very fast and frantic, almost Quake-like. But stealth is mostly about memorizing guard positions or knowing how to avoid guard routes and evading or possibly controlling civilians. I'm not an expert on stealth, I should warn you, and if you're looking to get better, there are plenty of guides specifically about stealth. But I figure that for the starter guide, you should at least get the ground rules. So let's talk about stealth. Ooh, did the screen go black when I did that? I sure hope it did. That was a callback. First off, I highly recommend waiting until you're at least level 50, if not more. First off, because you can purchase the second skill set, which lets you make a stealth build to go with your loud build, and because you can ace every skill in the Shinobi tree along with duck and cover, parkour, and forced friendship basics starting at level 42. If you're level 50, you can also pick up hardware expert and drill sergeant ace to make your drills both much faster and much quieter. You could also invest those points into, say, steady grip for more accuracy and stability, or inner pockets basic and optical illusions. These are concealment boosting mods. They boost the concealment of melee weapons and suppressed weapons. They're nice skills. You can make a stealth build without them, but, I mean, let's just take a quick look real fast. If you want to see a stealth build without inner pockets and optical illusions, here you go. My primary is the Planesrider bow. It's the most concealable primary without mods, coming in at 30, and the bow itself is a silent weapon. Enemies won't hear it fire, though if an arrow breaks a window, then it will make a sound. As my secondary, I've brought the Brunetti 9 with the size doesn't matter suppressor and a +3 concealment boost. That'll allow me to get down to the minimum detection risk of 3 when running a 30 concealment melee, like say your fists, or the ice pick. The ice pick is definitely a little bigger than my fists. Actually, with the Brunetti at 33 concealment, you can run any suppressed or silent primary weapon so long as it's above 24 concealment. If it's at 25 concealment or higher, then you get a decent amount of options, and those options radically increase when you pick up inner pockets and optical illusions. When you put a suppressor on a weapon with optical illusions aced, your weapon increases its concealment by 2. So a -2 suppressor like the champion suppressor can be run without any issue, and it gives you 1 extra point of concealment as well. This gives the Brunetti 9 the highest concealment stat in the game at 34. Optical illusions aced is not just 3 more concealment for running a suppressor. The size doesn't matter suppressor doesn't hit your concealment stat at all. You get the 1 point for running a suppressor, but you don't get 2 more because it's not taking a hit to your concealment. With these skills, you can run any suppressed weapon that's at as low as 22 concealment with the Brunetti 9, which opens your options rather heartily, especially for a lower level player. Unfortunately, you do need at least 2 decent suppressors as well as a +3 concealment boost, but even with a 31 concealment Brunetti without the boost, you're still capable of getting something at about 25 concealment or higher with your primary. Now that we've done the math, let's look at my standard stealth build on the main account. This is with all the skill points, infamy bonuses, all the bells and whistles. This isn't something I am going to say you're recommended to have very soon. This is something you might have at a higher infamy level. We'll pick it apart and find our core elements and then make them all back on the alt account soon. On the main account stealth build, my primary is the Cavity 9mm. This is a DMR with intensely high concealment and a serviceable enough accuracy, coming in at 92. I've modified it with a -2 suppressor. They're slamming doors. I've modified it with a -2 suppressor, the medium in this case, the Appalachian foregrip for 3 more concealment, the compact laser module as that doesn't hamper our concealment, and I just have the iron sights. I won't be fighting at super long range because I need to answer pagers usually, so I don't need an iron sight. The laser is usually good enough and I can just hip fire to hit an enemy at about medium to close range. With 33 rounds in its magazine, I shouldn't ever need to reload this thing in a stealth altercation. If I do, it's just me because it's muscle memory. And the accuracy is good enough for the ranges you'll be fighting enemies in stealth, point blank to about mid-range. If you can hit your mark from about 10 meters away, I'd say you're good to go. My secondary in this build is the Baby Deagle. It's high power, high accuracy, and it can score rather high concealment as well. I use the threaded barrel, the champion suppressor for more accuracy, the micro laser as that doesn't affect concealment, the spike grip, the spike kit, and the pistol red dot sight. Even though those hurt the concealment rating of the Baby Deagle, they still get me to 3 detection risk. So as long as I manage that detection risk, concealment dropping mods can help your build if it offers up things like extra accuracy or stability. In this case, I shot to make the Baby Deagle dead accurate, so on stealth heists without pagers like Nightclub or Scarface Mansion, I can take out guards from pretty much any range. I also picked a high power pistol because in some missions like Murky Station or Shadow Raid, you're fighting murky water enemies. Those have more health on higher difficulties, whereas your standard guards usually just have the low amount of health. If you're fighting the murky water guards with a standard light pistol, it might take more than one hit to kill them, so I wanted something stronger. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, this would also let you fight back if the heist goes loud, and I could play this build loud. But for better or for worse, nobody really plays the game how they should. You could double dip and have a stealth loud hybrid build, and they kind of really wanted you to do that, but it's probably just better to go full stealth and restart if a heist goes loud. Or if stealth lets you complete parts of a heist faster, like in the White House heist, the game's final mission, you might as well try to do that with your loud build, as the time saved by going stealthy is then made back up because of a tedious next step, whether you're playing loud or stealth. The loud section is easier, the stealth portion's kind of difficult and kind of time consuming, so you can play the first part of the mission in stealth and then go loud after that. For this reason, I'd say keep your stealth build as stealthy as possible. Don't try to double dip unless you really want to give it a whirl. It's not worth it. I'm just going to tell you that one now, it's not worth it. My melee in this build is the Ice Pick. It's high power and high concealment, and I'm also bringing the poisoned shurikens to stun and take out enemies from a distance if I need to react fast. The shurikens, along with knives, axes, and javelins, are all dead silent, again unless they break a window, whereas even the concussion grenade will alert the whole map. So bringing a non-explosive, non-incendiary throwable is going to save you a lot of time and offer a good backup weapon in case things go south and you just didn't reload. If you shot 12 shots and you actually do need to reload, maybe get better at aiming. I mean, I understand, but that's also whack. You'll notice I have 2 deployables. Because the core skills for stealth are pretty cheap, at higher levels you have plenty of flex room to invest in new things. So I like to grab Jack of all trades aced and then pick up both ECMs and trip mines. Cleaner Basic lets you carry 3 body bags, and a body bag deployable is usually available on stealth missions as an asset you can purchase before the mission, and rarely do you need more than 4 at the very most. You're usually disposing of guards this way. By buying that asset and pre-planning, I can free myself up to take ECMs and trip mines. ECMs can unlock electrically locked doors, and when placed anywhere will jam cell phones and pagers with ECM Specialist aced, making them an easy way to wrangle up civilians for easy crowd control. If you bring a buddy who also has ECM Specialist aced, you can actually deploy a new ECM just before the last one and just complete stealth missions really quickly and brutally by placing new ones just before the last one ends. This tactic is called ECM rushing or chaining, and while it doesn't work on some newer maps as the ECMs also jam equipment you need working to complete the heist, an ECM rush on Jewelry Store, Nightclub, or Shadow Raid can make quick work of the mission. It's tough to get it working the first time, but once you have it working, it's pretty much muscle memory. It's like riding a bike. Trip mines usually explode, but in stealth, if not placed on a moving surface, you will need that information. It's come back and bit me a few times. They become sensor mines, which can detect and mark any guards that pass by, making a loud audible beep when they do so. The guards don't notice the beep, but you will, and you get enough of them that even as a secondary deployable, you can place them around wherever you need information with enough to spare usually. With all of that out of the way, let's go look at the skills I have and my perk deck. In Mastermind, I have Basic Forced Friendship, Confident, and Stable Shot. This would let me tie up civilians quickly, shout at more civilians or at guards from farther away, and it gives me more accuracy. I have nothing in Enforcer because I shouldn't need stronger armor, more ammo, and I'm not using a shotgun. But that said, I will make a detour to mention that a lot of people love running shotguns in stealth, as pretty much every single-barreled shotgun can be suppressed, and that blast will launch defeated guards quite a ways away, which lets you get them out of the way without needing a body bag. I mean, you still have to answer their pager, but yeah, you can launch them. Don't launch people into the ocean, you can't answer their pager. In Technician, I have Jack of all trades via the fewest skill points, so I invested in sentries for like 3 points. I've aced all 3 drill skills and more firepower for extra trip mines. I have basic steady grip for more accuracy. I have all the aced shinobi skills. They're kind of, I'd say, necessary. Duck and cover and inner pockets basic, parkour aced for extra mobility, optical illusions, and the professional aced to better my suppressed weapons. 9 lives aced because sometimes you end up going down, you fall. I fall a lot of falling. And if I've got a friend stealthing with me, he can get me back up and I'm good to go. and I have basic pumping iron to round out the build by doubling my melee damage against guards. For the most part, all the skills I bought, past the ones I mentioned in the opening, are just auxiliary. They help me stealth better, but I wouldn't consider them vital for stealth. Run what you like, but if you're curious how I stealth, that's the setup I use and why I use it. My perk deck in this case is Burglar. This is the only dedicated stealth deck and one of two I most commonly see in stealth. Burglar lets you bag bodies, pick locks, and answer pagers faster, which saves time in stealth missions and offers some passive dodge when you're playing loud. It's not really passive dodge, is it, though? You crouch and stand still. I guess you're being passive. Don't know why I said passive. Is Burglar absolutely a must for stealth? No, not really. Is it nice? Yes. If you've been investing in Grinder, Armor, any of the other decks, you could run those, but you won't get much use out of them, and please remember to bring just the 2-piece suit. Even though the light ballistic vest can hit the same concealment with inner pockets aced, it will slow you down a little bit, and that little bit could make or break a stealth mission, and any extra armor would just be a hindrance past that. This build is one that more or less does require a little bit of infamy and a high level to run, but that doesn't mean we can't look to it for inspiration. By this point, the alt account is at level 75, mostly because I goofed and lost entire episodes worth of recordings. Don't do that. And while I lack many weapon mods, I do have one pistol and one rifle suppressor. I'll get the cavity again as it has a low unlock level and just needs the suppressor. I don't need to mod it with anything else. I'll pair it with my starting Shimano 88 with a suppressor. A Brunetti or other concealable pistol would work here too. I have the ice pick and we're technically set with 31 skill points to spare. I think I'll get some drill skills, but we really don't need much of anything else. For deployable, I'll keep that open. We could bring body bags. It's always nice to have some on hand when you need them, and guards don't notice deployables, so you could place them wherever you need them. We could bring a couple ECMs to get into places, that saves a lot of time. We could bring trip mine sensors to scope out enemy patrols, but I don't think I'll settle for any one just yet. I'll leave that open, so in case I'm playing a mission where I need to open a lot of locked doors, I can bring ECMs. If I'm playing a mission where I have to bag a lot of bodies, I can bring body bags. And if I'm playing a mission that's just a lot of open space and guard management, I can place and bring trip mines. In this build, the cavity will be doing the heavy lifting, and we'll only really be dealing with short to medium range. My Shimano has a flashlight attached, and I'll be able to use that to scope out dark areas and then switch off to the cavity for taking out enemies in a swift manner. Or better yet, I can toss a shuriken their way. It's hard to call the cops when you're throwing up all over the place. Trust me, I know. I think for this, we could just keep Grinder, but I will note now that the bot skill Quick more or less makes up for not having Burglar, as most of the things Burglar speeds up are classified as interactions, which Quick also improves. So we've got our weapons, we got our skills, we're good to go, let's go kill. Well, maybe not kill, but you might be tempted to jump right into the classic bank heist and stealth it, but things aren't what they seem. Bank heist is one of many heists in Payday 2 that I call crowd control stealth. You can't just get in and out totally unseen. Rather, you and your crew must quickly rustle up all the civilians around the map, tie them down, make sure things look normal from the outside, and then get to work. This isn't really stealth as I'd like to imagine it would go, but it is stealth in that there's no news about your crime getting out during the heist. Crowd control missions are usually, boring. This is, to my knowledge, apparently how former director David Goldfarb wanted stealth to go. Shout out to the stealth portion of No Mercy from Payday the Heist, mixed with a little bit of an actual hostage situation. They're tough to pull off, nearly impossible solo, unless you really want to kill a whole bunch of people. But luckily, there's no heists with infinitely respawning civilians where crowd control is the name of the game. Also, if you're wondering, the civilians hit the big red panic buttons all across the standard bank heist, and no amount of electrical countermeasure is going to stop them from doing so. They slap that button, you're toast. This bad boy can fit so many cop calls in it. But why did I say that? Now, if you're looking for a place to get your foot in the door with stealth, 4 stores is a great place to start. What you're looking for is an ATM in the convenience store, 24/7. Wait until everyone's passed by the front and put on your mask, place an ECM on the ATM, pilfer the money cartridges, and then hide behind the shelves until the coast is totally clear, and then book it to the back of the store. Open up that door and wait for the van. It'll either be there or across the street, but the heist shouldn't go loud if you run across the street and make it there in time. Just don't go running across the street until the van gets there. This heist used to be even easier because you could hide behind the open ATM's door and completely avoid being detected no matter what. But these days, you still have more than enough cover for this heist. Past that, nightclub can be an easy one, though you have to go about it a little bit tricky. It's kind of a puzzle. When you arrive, enter the club, go up the stairs and to the back room. These are the stairs right at the front of the building, right by the coat room. Use an ECM on the door and enter. Place a silent drill in the safe if you have one, or just lockpick it open if it's not a Titan. Otherwise, head down the stairs. Open the door, but kind of duck away. Wait until the coast is clear in the kitchen, and then duck into the poker room to the right and straight into the back alley. Turn on your flashlight. Enemies don't notice flashlights or lasers. Make sure it's safe, and then duck into the door across the way to where the back room that connects the kitchen to the manager's office is. Place your second ECM preferably on the door to the basement if there is one, otherwise on the door to Dimitri's office. Where this gets tricky is that there's often a lot of gangsters in Dimitri's office, and they fire fully automatic submachine guns, which make a ton of noise. That's why I say go for the basement. There is almost never anyone in the basement. If there's a safe there, drill it, lockpick it, whatever. If you've found your money and your coke, just wait. You just have to do a lot of waiting. There's pretty much no chance of failure at this point unless you go running upstairs. If you haven't found the safe with the money, you'd be out of ECMs. You need a key card. I just say it's safer and easier to restart. ECM rushes on missions like these can be an absolute godsend, as if you are quick enough, you'll get about 48 seconds per heister with 2 fully equipped ECMs, and as long as everyone's taken care of or tied down, you more or less can work in peace. Also, a nightclub, you can destroy the cameras and nobody will notice, so just shoot the cameras. Shoot all the cameras. So we've talked some pretty basic stealth heists so far, but we've got the big one now, Shadow Raid. That wasn't Shadow Raid. That was either a couple seconds of black screen or an ad. That's not what Payday 2 looks like. That's not what Payday 2 looks like. Right, Shadow Raid. It's probably the biggest of the missions you'll be stealthing, because even though there's more intense missions like breaking feds or yacht heist, Shadow Raid is all about situational awareness and pays out handsomely with tons of loot ready for the taking. There's tons of guards, and when you take them out, you need to answer their pager in time. If you hang up during the page, don't answer it, or your crew answers more than 4, the heist immediately goes loud. With a mission like Shadow Raid, you don't get much more time to hang around. So if you don't have all the loot you need, you will fail. Book it. You'll probably want some intel going into this mission, and that's where we get into pre-planning. Here you can pick out spawn locations for various things, including spy cams to catch guards with, pre-deployed assets, and a drop-off point for loot. This isn't the best way to go about it, but what I like to do is place body bags near the intersection by spawn, thermite in the passage along the side of the compound, and then turn the nearby dumpster into a loot drop point. Don't just schlep through the front door though. Go all the way across the street to the dead end where I placed the thermite. Take a right, climb up the ladder, and then get a running start and jump onto the roof of the building. Watch out for guards and head downstairs. In these rooms you can expect cocaine, rifles, some money, and if you have a crowbar, then you can also find some golden artifacts. That's gold and artifacts, not golden artifacts. I should make that clear. On the first floor, you might also notice some grates. You can climb down into the sewers to get in and out easily, but you'll need the thermite to burn the bars. But you can also use these to dispose of body bags easily. Just throw them down there, out of sight, out of mind. The goal is to locate the camera room of the facility and take out its guard. Maps like Nightclub will lack a camera room but have no pagers. If a heist has pagers, then it usually also will have a camera guy. That's like the I before E rule. There are a lot of exceptions. Shadow Raid has a camera guy. Bank Heist has a camera guy. Jewelry store, diamond store, Ukrainian job have camera guy. Nightclub does not. Nightclub's the weird one here. Outside of the Scarface mansion, that's a weird one. This is the norm. They got pagers, there's a guy with the camera room. That's the norm. Eliminate him, answer the pager, and now you just have to dodge past guards and civilians while taking everything you can. A new camera guy won't show up. You might find a key card. Don't use them in the gates to the storage rooms. Instead, there's a vault that requires 2 key cards in 10 seconds that, when opened, reveals a suit of samurai armor worth a lot of money. If you don't have a second player, getting the vault open is a stroke of luck. It's a tight time window, and you can't pick up 2 cards at the same time. One last thing I will note is that about 5 minutes after Bane tells you to check the containers, you will hear a radio chatter. Quickly get to the building's roof and stand inside the helipad symbol, but only the bit close to the guardrail, so that little corner. If you're in just the right spot, you just save yourself a lot of headache. A helicopter containing several guards would appear, complicating everything. One final note is that if you bag up the enemy and toss them towards the Potomac River or the ocean or whatever this is supposed to be, you actually get rid of the body bag, which is super handy in case you need to get rid of the evidence. Also, I believe if you throw your loot into the ocean or the river or whatever, it just spawns back at the beginning. Guards will notice bags. guards will notice bags. They won't notice deployables, but they will notice loot bags or body bags. Shadow Raid is kind of like rats, and that beating it on overkill is probably a good sign you're ready for the next step. Stealth missions don't necessarily get harder like loud missions. You might have more guards and eventually unbreakable Titan cameras or just bigger safes to deal with, but no new wildcard special enemies to deal with or anything like that. What special enemies am I talking about? You'll see. Next time on the Payday 2 Starter Guide, because we're headed back to Loud to talk Overkill, Mayhem, and beyond. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you around. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, I'd recommend subscribing. Patreon and social media links are in the description.